Good morning. It is February the 15th, 2018. And today I'm going to be talking about how they strategically manipulate the police reports from 1998 till today. And California was involved, and also the St. Tammany Parish Police Department. And once you were put into these brain mapping projects, Project Monarch, mind control, to where they manipulate you, cause tragic events in your life, and then scan your brain. Obama calls it the Brain Mapping Initiative. Now, who the hell would come up with a brain mapping initiative? And who would volunteer for this? Nobody. Nobody would ever. I don't care how much money you paid somebody. They would not. And even if they did volunteer, they would stop. They would quit. Here's another thing. You couldn't volunteer for this project because you have to have the brain thinking that it's a real situation in order to map the brain. You couldn't have somebody knowing that it's fake. Oh, listen, we're going to get you to, pretend like you're just broke up with your girlfriend and you're feeling down and whatever. Cars that park themselves, cars that read your brain like Nissan, vehicles that stop themselves. This is part of the new AI program, artificial intelligence, to where all they have to do is place a chip in your brain close to your head, and the brain becomes just like a cell phone, a receiver. This means that there will be no free will, there will be no critical thinking, and there will be no God on this planet. In other words, you won't be able to worship or have any other religion. There'll be a one world government, new world order, a one world way of thinking. And just like the movie The Matrix, people will control your brain with the touch of a keyboard. Now, I've been in the technology industry, and when you tell people this, that do not have the knowledge that I have and the in-depth knowledge that I have of technology, they think you're nuts. This is not crazy. There's nothing nuts about it. The brain is a receiver, and the body is a antenna. We know this from ancient religion. The Egyptians believed that. The Mayans believed it. The Africans believed it. We can go back to every religious. They knew that the body was the temple. The Chinese believed it. The body was the temple, the mind is the vessel. And they knew that you can ascend your knowledge to a higher level and a higher consciousness. And that higher consciousness was heaven. That was heaven. So this is why they call it a voice to God weapon. That's one of the slang terms for it. So now I'm in a situation, okay, that for years, back in 1998, no matter who I dated or what I was involved in, every time police were called, they would take the report of the person that was involved in the mind control project, and they wouldn't take my report. So they manipulated the records. And I have proof of that. That's why they searched my apartment. They searched my camper. They searched my house illegally. What happened was I rented one of my properties, and they pretended like there was a domestic disturbance, and then they went through my house, is what they did. They went through my property and my belongings. And then they staged a guy coming on my property at 4 o'clock in the morning. I reacted just like every human being would react. I went to defense mode. I saw the guy with a military-style directed energy weapon, and I went and got my gun. Simple as that. Just like anybody else would do. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I was awakened. The guy was abusing animals. He was shooting directed energy weapons at me to attempt to murder me, and then he was trying to abuse my animals. Now, everybody that's involved in this is linked to Cox Enterprise, which is media corporations, and NOLA.com, newspaper corporations. Come to find out, the guy worked for a newspaper company. That's what they told me. He was supposed to be a newspaper delivery boy. And I said, well, I've never seen the guy in the neighborhood. My dogs never saw the car. And by the way, the car actually went to my house in the back looking for me on a very long private road. Very late at night. And they don't deliver newspapers on the private road. They throw them at the front of the road. So I know that the police are covering for this guy and they're lying. Okay? So what did they do? Just like they always do. They manipulated the report. They arrested me and they leave this guy alone. Okay? I'll tell you one story that they did to me out of many. Okay? I'm going to make it as quick as possible. This is also the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department. As quick as possible, I bought a boat. I wanted to upgrade the motor because I wanted to take my dad fishing. That was his dream because he knew he was getting Alzheimer's. So I made a deal with a guy. I found him on Craigslist, and he said that he would upgrade the motor. And if I traded in my motor, and he would upgrade the motor for $3,000 if I gave him the old motor. Okay? And this would be a newer motor, a little bit more horsepower, and he would do all the work, and then he would guarantee the engine for so many years. He put it all in writing. So I paid the guy $3,000 with a check up front. And after weeks and weeks and weeks of this guy bullshitting me, he'd call me up. Yeah, I did this. Oh, the motor's on. I've got a couple of finishing touches left to do. This went on for like 2 months. Finally, I drove up there and I said, dude, well, he wasn't there. I drove up there and I'm like, there's no motor on the boat. Matter of fact, the old motor's missing. My boat looked like a demolition site. It was stripped. Electronics were taken out. The motor was taken off. The electric motors were taken off. I mean, it looked terrible. I'd never seen anything like it. So I'm trying to find the guy, and I couldn't find him. And finally, I talked to him, and he told me that he spent the money. Come to find out, he's tied into drugs, and the police told me that he was tied into a murder investigation. And then I found out that the guy had did this to many, many other people. There were people that I had contacted that were writing on Craigslist, be aware of this guy. So I went to the police. The first police officer said, yeah, this guy's going to jail. We're going to pick him up. That's fraud. It's theft. He stole your money. And then he stole property off the boat. You can't do that. I had it in writing what he was supposed to do. The boat was destroyed. And the motor was actually missing. So not only did he not do the work, but he stole the motor and sold it. I sold it. And listen to this. The reason why he wanted the $3,000 up front is because he had to buy another motor. He never even bought the motor. He totally lied, took the money and spent it. I still, to this day, don't have the money. So this is what they did. All of a sudden, some guy found out who I was. I'm a targeted individual, right? I'm in a mind control project. He walks up. He says, I'm not pressing charges against this guy. I said, what? Why not? This is a civil issue. I said, no, it's not. It's criminal. I can't get my boat. He's got it hidden on property. He stole it. He stole the motor. He stole electronics off the boat. He stole $3,000. He admitted that he stole $3,000. He even admitted it. I said, this is a crime, dude. This is not a civil issue. I have a contract that said he was going to do something and he didn't do it. Period. This is criminal. The guy stripped my boat, vandalized it, and says that he doesn't have the money to fix it. And then he spent my money. That's a crime. Sorry, you can't do that. You know? I even looked up the statutes. And it was a crime. And this guy refused to press charges. And he was being as rude as hell to me. I mean, rude, like he hated my guts. All of these people that help these mind control projects using human beings as rats in a cage, test subjects. It was like he was trying to piss me off. And I'm like, why would a sheriff try to piss off a person that just got, raped over the coals? Guys, listen. This is about $10,000 in damage this guy did. He stole the motor. The motor itself was worth at least $5,500. Easily. And that's why I was going to get a motor, 55, 65, 75, 80. That'd have been about $8,500 for a rebuilt motor, a newer motor. And I thought that was a pretty fair deal, right? But because he was going to take the one that I had, which was a good motor, it ran great. No crime, these guys say. Well, guess what happened? As I was trying to communicate with the guy, he called up the sheriff's department and claimed that I threatened him. Now, I wrote a 3-page report on what happened. Sat there and the sheriff wrote this 3-page report. And when I called up, I said, well, where's my report? And I gave her the number. They threw it away. They threw it away. It didn't even exist. That's what the lady told me. She said, the only report I see is that you threatened him on this case. I said, really? And this is what they've been doing to me. The St. Tammany Parish Police Department has literally been creating treasonous terror against me. Abuse. Manipulating police reports. Refusing to write down the crimes. Now listen to this. I went to a friend of mine that I took martial arts with. He was a captain of the Covington Police Department. His name is Jack West. And I told Jack about the story. And he said, well, go to Internal Affairs, Fred. I went to Internal Affairs and I talked to a guy and he wouldn't do shit. It was like I made an enemy. It was ridiculous. And the guy wouldn't even call me back. It was ridiculous. They're all in on it. Once the corporations say, hey, this guy is a military project, I guess. I don't know what they were calling me. This guy we're doing a science project on this guy. Then all of a sudden the police department treats you like a lunatic. And they write it up like you're a lunatic. For example, when I go back to 99 and 98, my girlfriend, they paid her off. They offered her money. She even told me that they did. And of course, when she told me, then the next day she changed her mind, I guess, whatever. But they paid her off to file phony police reports on me. I mean, completely phony. First, she reported a protection order on me, her boyfriend. And I don't even know why. It was like all of a sudden I had a protection order on me. And guess what? It wasn't between me and her. It was between me and her sister. I said, why did your sister do a protection order on me? I don't even talk to your sister. I mean, I think I saw your sister during Christmas and said hi, and that's it. And I'm like, why did you do that? I don't even have nothing to do with your sister. I've never had an argument. I've never had a disagreement with your sister. Nothing. And I couldn't figure out, why do the people that I love and care for, why are they doing this to me? You know? I guess what she wanted to do was continue to be in a relationship with me and have sex with me and do what they told her to do in the first place and get the sister to do it. Because if she filed a protection order on me, then she couldn't have sex with me. We'd have to break up. This is how psychopathic these people are. And when this all comes to fruition, now the reason why I was arrested and my house was searched, they had a girl rent my apartment. They searched that house. And they also searched my other apartment or house. So they searched my camper. They searched both of my apartments illegally with phony, staged police incidents. They claimed that it was a domestic issue. The girl had some kind of stomach thing, which they probably created it with some kind of directed energy weapon. I don't know what they did, but they cut the girl's stomach open. She had some kind of surgery. But yeah, the police were all in my house, just like they were in my camper, looking for evidence to cover up their crimes. They even searched my father's place. I stayed there for a while. They searched that. And they did that through my niece. So here we go. The St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department, every time I call them, they do a phony police report. They don't take my side of the story. They take the other person's side of the story, and typically they throw mine away. For example, just the other day, my nephew, which is very involved in covert harassment on me, my own nephew, okay, works for an ambulance service. He deliberately took his truck and threw rocks all over my truck, spun out. He was passing me. I got off the side of the road. He floored the thing and chipped all the paint on my truck. What happens? My mother, my sister, don't call the cops, don't call the cops. I said, no, I need an incident report. I mean, this is ridiculous. He did physical damage deliberately to my vehicle. I never found out. They would not take my report, but they went back there for over an hour at my sister's house, taking a report for them, but not for me. Well, wait a minute. I'm the one that had physical damage to my vehicle. But then they went back there and took their report. So my own sister is involved in helping the police try to say that I'm crazy. I'm making all this up. I'm not part of some science project, experiment. I'm not even part of any of this stuff. Right? And it's absolutely atrocious what they've done to me. The murder of my daughter, the cover-up of her death, knowing that the boyfriend threatened her the night before. I had emails that they were threatening me to take down my Facebook page on geoengineering. I offered all that stuff to the police. They didn't do anything about that. I had a photograph of my daughter's hand the day before her death. I even had the photograph blown up. When she died, somebody poked holes in her hand to make her look like a heroin addict. I had proof and I still have it, that they didn't have any marks on my daughter's hands whatsoever. That somebody did that to say that she was a heroin addict. And guess who else was involved in that? My niece. She was making heroin. Her and my daughter's boyfriend that she broke up with, that he threatened to overdose her with drugs the night before she died. What did the report say? Completely something opposite of what actually happened. Once again, and you're talking about a murder. You're not talking about somebody stealing a boat motor. You're talking about a murder. The St. Tammany Parish Police Department and the coroner's office did everything they could to stop me from pursuing the truth on my daughter's death. They refuse to investigate the evidence. I even had 3 people go to the sheriff's department and testify that the boyfriend threatened to kill her. In a drunken argument, they all also testified that he was abusive to her and that they broke up. And he was revengeful because she broke up with him. She even took down his Facebook page and put her picture with another girl, one of her girlfriends up there. And he goes back in after her death and changed the picture to him and her on the Facebook cover. So he had access to her Facebook page. Now let's think about these high school shootings. 17 people injured, blah, blah, blah. People died. And then somebody's on Facebook saying jihad or something to do with Muslim Brotherhood or whatever. Well, who's to say that they didn't do what they did my daughter and manipulate her Facebook page? This guy not only had her Facebook, but he had her phone book, her phone numbers. The computers were missing. They stole the computers. Her cell phone was given to the murderer, the guy who murdered her. He had access to all of her internet accounts. So when I see these school shootings and then all of a sudden I see posts on Facebook, I'm like, these guys have access. These are targeted individuals that do these shootings. Voice to skull, technology. They're in mind control projects. These are training drills, and these people have access to all of their internet, all of it, just like they're doing to me right now. So when I upload this video, there's going to be a bunch of psyops say, oh yeah, Fred, we love you. Here's some, I'm going to support your Facebook, your PayPal account. And I'm going to give some money to your cause or whatever. And they're pretending like they're my friend. Just like what happened to my daughter. She had a lot of pretend friends around her. I even told my daughter, I said, sweetie, please don't hang out with my niece. Because I knew she was into heroin and stuff. I said, please don't hang out with her. My daughter, when she died, they tried to say that she was a lunatic, crazy. Well, here's the real story. My daughter was a genius. 4.3 GPA. They were electronically torturing her. Okay, I've said this over and over, and I know people are tired of hearing it. And the doctor reported that she had tachycardia, supraventricular tachycardia, lupus, fibromyalgia. They kept misdiagnosing her. And then the Obamacare that she came in, and all of a sudden she lost her insurance policy because they raised the rates. We couldn't afford hardly to send her to the doctor anymore because of Obamacare. Isn't that funny how the Democrats manipulated the hospitals to stop caring for these people that were being electronically tortured? Isn't that a coincidence? Nobody will look at the evidence. Nobody. It's so factual. Oh, it's all conjecture, Fred. Really. It's a carefully drawn out strategic plan that the local police, they're not busy in protecting me. They're busy in trying to find evidence so that they can throw it away and then keep what they wanted, to where they can say that your daughter just committed suicide. You're making all this stuff up. These reports and all this stuff. You're just making it all up. You're crazy. And nobody will listen to me. Not even your own attorney. And that's really sad. Your own attorney will not even sit down and listen to you. It's like when you start talking, they're scared to hear the real story. Because they're told, typically, just like my divorce, to not represent you. That's what they're told to do. And it's really sad that you hire a lawyer and he will betray you. It's almost like the story of Jesus Christ. Everyone will betray you. So guys, I have many, many stories, including the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department, along with the state troopers, trying to kidnap me or cause a traffic accident, kill me, attempted murder, several stories of directed energy weapons. Now, I know the only people in this town that are supposed to have directed energy weapons are the sheriff's departments. That's it. The only one that can have LRAD is the sheriff. Now, the day of my arrest, there was a kid with a military-style directed energy weapon. So this means that they're hiring private security corporations, private citizens, to covertly harass you. And of course, they won't charge the kid with a crime. Now, this is the truth. And this is my testimony. And I have so many stories to tell. And I have hordes of evidence that the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Department did not even look at. Nor will the district attorney say, well, hey, Fred, give me some of your evidence. No, there's no communication. And quite honestly, from the way that this case is being handled, there is no way that I would reveal my evidence to these people. I would wait to have this trial in a higher court. There's no way. I don't trust them. When I went through what I went through with Kimberly, I never got fair representation by any lawyer. Matter of fact, I paid a lawyer $3,500 in California, and he just stole my money and did nothing. Nothing. I paid another lawyer $1,500 to expunge the record. He stole my money and did nothing. I paid my lawyer. I went through over 40 grand with five lawyers during my divorce, and none of them would protect me. I had one lady named Kim that tried to help me, and all she did was stop me from getting, listen to this. They tried to say that slander was a felony. They tried to say that because I said something negative about my ex-wife, that it was a felony. And my defense was, wait a minute, when you're going through a divorce, do you expect the husband or the wife to say good things about their partner? Oh yes, she was wonderful, I love her. No, they were trying to have me arrested under a felony because something to do with, I forgot what happened. I was trying to communicate with one of her family members and tell them the real story about what happened. And they tried to say that that's a felony. I'm like, I'm just trying to tell the story. It's a felony. And then she got me off of this. She said there's no way that that, slander is a felony. And they had no proof of it. I mean, it was ridiculous. If anybody's been character assassinated, it's me. By the St. Tammany Police Department and everybody else that's been involved in this gang stalking, covert harassment, electronic torture, one of the many things that they do, targeted individuals that have been placed in these scientific projects of mind control, voice-to-skull technology, artificial intelligence, placing chips in people's heads. Now, I have evidence that they put a chip without my consent in my tooth. I have evidence of that. My attorney won't even look at the evidence. I mean, he won't even say, hey, go to the dentist and get an x-ray. I mean, that's right there proof that he's not crazy. Right? No, not the DA, not my attorney. None of them will say, okay, let's send him to a doctor and see if that chip is in his head. I guess they're busy trying to find a dentist that will lie for them. I don't know. And phony up the x-ray. I guess they're trying to rig that. I don't know. But that is evidence. That's it. That's all I don't even need to offer anything else. Hey, somebody put a voice-to-skull chip in his head, and this guy is claiming that he's been targeted and he's into a mind control experiment. That's it. That's all you need. That is total evidence. The case is solved. Who the hell told Dr. Hebert in Mandeville, Louisiana, to put a V2K chip in my tooth? And then there was another doctor that put another one in that was associated with my ex-wife in Baton Rouge. I'm not going to divulge that information just yet. So this is what we have. We have every time there was an incident that the police were called out, I look like the bad guy. The police completely would not take the correct report. They didn't say, let me hear your story. Let me hear her story. They said, you shut up, Frederick. Here, write on a piece of paper what happened. They throw it away, and then they only take the other report. And now, when people in a jury read this shit, I look like a lunatic. I even had a friend of mine tell me, Freddie, the way they wrote this up, you look like a lunatic. I said, I know. That's what they've been deliberately doing. And once again, to prove that I'm correct, this video will be uploaded on a private server, not even the World Wide Web. It will be screened. It will be silenced. It will be thrown into cyberspace and there are a bunch of people that pretend like they're listening to my channel and they're interested in what I have to say. They'll write a bunch of comments and then the video will just disappear. It'll still be up on the private server, but nobody's ever going to see it again. Espionage, treason, terrorism, hacking computers, invasion of privacy. These people, freedom of speech. These people have violated every civil liberty. Title 18, Section 241. I mean, they violated every code. The new executive order that Donald Trump put out. They violated all of these laws, and they keep doing it. And by the way, not one person has shared my story on YouTube. Not one person. And nobody's ever copied my videos. I'm sure the DA's copying them. I'm sure they're copying them. And they're going, well, let's take this word out. Let's take this word out. Let's take this out. And they're editing them. And then they go, here's evidence. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. That's not, you edited it. It went on your server. And that's exactly what they're doing to me now. But all I know is from me to God, I spoke my testimony. If you manipulate that testimony, then you've got to answer to that. One of the things about this world, they can win in the flesh, but they won't win eternal life. That's the issue. Anybody that's involved in covering up the crimes against humanity, on what happened to me, my life is a very tragic story. It's extremely sad. If I wrote a book, I would make billions of people cry. They will never tell my story. Never. It will just get brushed off under the rug. I mean, that would be my dream, to stop these corporations from doing this to anybody else ever again. That would be a great wish. To shut these corporations down. Any owner that would do this to a human being doesn't deserve to be an owner. He deserves to be in prison. And the people that I want to go to prison, it's not the people that manipulated and lied and took orders from a higher authority. I know how the police department works. An FBI agent calls up and says, hey, screw this guy. We want to screw him over. And then they're trying to earn points with the FBI agent. Yeah, boss, I'll do this for you. No problem. We know that through the FISA courts that they were claiming that we were terrorists. This is how they got away with surveillancing us. We were terrorists. I am not a terrorist. Matter of fact, I'm a better person than anybody that I've come across in a long time. I'm a loving person. I'm a forgiving person. And that's why these Satan demons, that's why they came after me in the first place. That's why they chose me. It's funny how I was thrown into this project at the age of 33 years old. There's nothing funny about it. Jesus died at 33. There's nothing funny about it. That's when my life went to shit. And anything that could allow people on this earth to love me disappeared. It was like in the social world, you were tumbling down the staircase by design. And there were a lot of people making sure that you were thrown down the staircase instead of climbing up the stairs of success. This is a testimony of just a microcosm of what actually happened to me. Very small piece of the puzzle. This is a very true story. If anybody claims that I'm making this stuff up, I have evidence to back it up. Would I present that evidence to these people so they can just take it and throw it away? Because that's what they did me in my divorce. Look, I couldn't, if I would have hired a $100,000 lawyer, I'm telling you, they would have paid him off and he would have betrayed me. Because this is how much money these people have. I couldn't figure out where. They must take a lot of money to betray. And let me tell you, there's nothing. Just like the story of the Last Supper, everyone will betray you. Just like the Luke chapter 21, everybody will betray you. Family, friends, everybody. And God says, don't worry, I will give you my words. And they might throw you in prison and torture you. but I will give you eternal life. That will be my gift right there. And this is why, and I know this is true, I know that God is going to give me a gift when I die. I feel this in my heart. But I know one thing, that the people that refuse to listen to me, refuse to help me, the people that deliberately were paid to treat me like a science experiment, I feel sorry for you. I could never do what you did to another human being. I don't care how much money. Somebody paid me $1 billion. I would not do this. I couldn't do this to another human being. I love you all. Even the ones that betrayed me. I have this feeling in my heart that you're going to get a judgment from the Creator that you're not going to like. And I feel sorry for you. The best thing that you can do is to testify what you did to me. And not one person has stepped up and said, you know something? I'm going to stop this from happening to any other human being. I will testify that I'm involved in this. They will all carry this story to their grave. I promise you. Kimberly Gottfredson, we have a child. And this child has to live her whole life thinking her dad is the bad guy and you're the good guy. And you know that you're not. You know what you did to me. You know the people involved in murdering my daughter. You were part of it. You were told to manipulate my child. Both of my children. And you have the power to come forth and be free, just like Darth Vader. All the terrible things he did, but at the last minute, he did not kill his son. He destroyed the dark Sith Lord, and God gave him eternal life. Now's the time to testify. All of you involved in this stuff, from my ex-wife trying to murder me, but no, they're not going to do it because they did so many things that could land them in prison, and their service to self individuals. They're not going to give up their freedom for somebody else. They don't believe in self-sacrifice. They don't believe in do unto others as you would do them to yourself. They don't believe in that philosophy. Matter of fact, they spit on it. And they take it to their grave, what they did to you. I don't want any sympathy from anyone, any sorrow. I want this to never happen again. And if you testify, you can take out the people like Cox Enterprise that do this to human beings and fund these projects, like Hillary Clinton and Obama. You can take these people out. You can change the world with your testimony. You can save millions of people from being treated like I was treated, because me being the test subject is just the precursor for the rest of the human race. Voice to skull technology, they won't be a cell phone. They will just be a chip in your head, a receiver, and the brain is going to be the receiver. The receiver is going to receive the signal, and it's going to transport and convert that information to the brain. Now, we've already seen TV shows. I've seen they talk about this stuff on TED conventions. But everybody thinks it's a conspiracy theory. I mean, it's out in the open. Even Obama has a brain mapping project. Who the hell is going to volunteer for a brain mapping project? And by the way, you can't volunteer because it has to be real life situation. They had to choose American people. Remember, Obama is a Muslim. He's not even American. So a Muslim foreigner comes over here and starts using Americans as science projects. He doesn't want to do it to his own people. He wants to do it to Americans. And we know that Hillary Clinton, the Bushes, and the Obamas are tied into the central banking system, foreigners. So yes, support Donald Trump in getting rid of foreigners, having a stricter system. Because they will come in here and treat human beings like science projects. And we know that Cox is tied in to the same Democratic Party that wants foreigners to take our jobs, our businesses, our lives. They'll steal your pensions, your retirement, your Social Security, your birth certificate trust funds that most people don't even know about. And then sell your body parts because they're involved in human organ trafficking too. They can make millions off of that. So it's very profitable to do a great culling, for the Grim Reaper to cut the heads off and harvest the crops. We're the crops, guys. Matter of fact, your birth certificate and your driver's license says that you're a fictional character. And every time you sign something, you're giving them permission to trade you like cattle and oranges. Your human body, through the birth certificates and all these certificates, is being treated like a commodity. In Wall Street, the bankers, you're all slaves. All I know is these people committed fraud. They do not have dominion or any type of jurisdiction over my body and my mind. God gave me free will. If anybody takes that away, and that's what they did, they took away my free will. They want to control our brains. This is insanity. This is like the movie The Matrix. You don't think they put blocking out the sun in the movie The Matrix? You don't think they put that in there for just laughs and giggles? And guess what's happening? They're blocking out the moon and the sun and the stars with geoengineering, solar radiation management. Because that is electromagnetic. It's electromagnetic energy. When you block it out, the cell towers take control of the brain. So that means they're planning on taking people and throwing them freaking underground or something, or either continuing the geoengineering project until the planet's dead. They can't even continue it anymore. And Dane Wigington, that talks about geoengineering and offers up all these patents, never mentions that the chemicals are nanotechnology, and the real agenda behind the geoengineering and the solar radiation management and the stratospheric aerosol injection is artificial intelligence. That's the real agenda. Not making storms and controlling the weather. That's just the diversion. And there's a lot of diversions. The real agenda is AI, artificial intelligence. The human being will integrate with the machines, just like the movie, The Terminator. You don't think that Arnold Schwarzenegger's father was in the Hitler Army. Prescott Bush, George Bush's grandfather, by the way, George Bush was adopted, so that means he's probably a clone. He's probably a clone. George Bush Sr. was adopted. I read that too. But Prescott Bush funded Hitler's through a bank in New York. So we have Nazis running our country. No wonder why we're in this situation. No wonder why the police are acting like freaking Gestapos. Because you allowed these psychopaths to run your country. And when Donald Trump tries to fix it, you got a bunch of paid protesters out there covertly harassing him, gang stalking him, probably doing electronic torture and phoning up records just like what happened to me. The FBI is caught red-handed phoning up a fake investigation on some type of voting fraud with Russia, when we know that the real investigation is between Hillary Clinton and Obama selling uranium-1 to Russia, which is punishable by capital punishment treason. To try to start a war with Russia and then sell them the ability to be more powerful than us. Proves that their allegiance was not with the human beings in the United States, but with a foreign country. What the hell are we painting portraits of Obama and letting Hillary Clinton write books for? Why aren't these people in prison? And what do you see when they're threatened with prison? More false flag, tragic events. Didn't I tell you that they would be multiple diversions? Something tragic was going to happen. Boom, a school shooting. I told you it was going to happen. That's how they get away with their crimes, by diverting people's attention from the FISA documents and the indictments. The FBI not only covered up 9/11, Sandy Hook, Aurora shooting, mind control, they falsely said that people were terrorists. And now we have McCabe stepping down, Comey tweeting that he's innocent. They're guilty. And my testimony proves that they're guilty. Just the chip proves that they're guilty. That's in my head. So what am I going to do? They took away my guns. I'm going to sit around and wait for these people to kill me? You know what my attorney said? Go live your life. What life, dude? I'm a walking target. And you took away my ability to defend myself. And you're not helping me defend myself. I mean, I'm a walking target. And all we got to do is look at the Clinton administration and see that she erases all of her targets. Sandy Hook and Aurora were tied into the LIBOR scandal. The fathers were supposed to testify against Hillary Clinton. That's a fact. The media and the FBI covered it up. The DOJ covered it up. And the DOJ has the gall to call me up and say, maybe you need to take a pill, trying to say I'm crazy. How's that sound? Wait a minute. You covered up treason and terror to the people of the United States, and I'm crazy? Your crime is 1 billion times more than even my accused crime. And I'm crazy? Yeah. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Those of you out there that support me and support my channel, thank you so much. All of you psyops that are pretending to be my friend, you can go screw yourself, Judith Iscariot. Get the fuck off of my channel. I don't consent to you pretending to be my friend, Judith Iscariot, and infiltrating my group. I don't consent to that. I don't consent to my videos supposedly going to the World Wide Web, and they're not. I don't consent to my videos being edited. And guess what? I have evidence that they edited my videos. You can write that down. I have lots of evidence of that. That's why they've been searching my house. So they can take me to court, and I have no weapons to protect myself. I have no more evidence. And yes, Frederick is crazy. Let's put him on medication and throw him in a mental ward. And it'll be like the Mel Gibson conspiracy theory story. He was right all along, but the government has to control and silence these people. They even made a movie about it, Conspiracy Theory, with Mel Gibson. I mean, everything that he said was true. But every time he spoke, everybody thought he was nuts. It's very real. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Please click below and support my channel and my works in my effort to bring truth and justice and to stop these psychopaths from creating artificial intelligence children. We have to stop these companies from doing this to other people. My life is a literal crucifixion story. I have been crucified. And I promise you one thing, and I'm going to leave you with this. If they told me, Fred, we're going to nail you to the cross, and we're going to throw a spear through you, and we're going to make you, suffer in the sun and carry a cross halfway naked. Let me tell you something. I would rather do that than what happened to me. I would rather be beaten. At least I know that it's going to be over with in a day or so, and that I'll be going to heaven. This torture program that they have for the Christ conscience people is the worst torture it's worse than what they did Jesus Christ, I promise you. If you go against the power structure, it's better to be nailed to the cross, beaten, walked through public, humiliated, spit on. At least you know, in a day or so, you're leaving this planet and going to heaven. At least you know that. But this program, they will torture you day after day, year after year, and then deny that they ever did it. My story should be in a Bible, a modern day technological crucifixion of people who threatened the power structure, just like Moses and Jesus and Job. My story, I will say this again, is a modern day crucifixion. And my story will probably never be told. If anybody wants to write a book, and what was the best-selling book in the world was the Bible and the story of Christ being crucified, you might want to come interview me and let me tell my story of corporations. Just like Pontius Pilate, trust me, he was a political corporation. Who's Cox Media? A politician in the Democratic Party that doesn't like conservative people crucifying people because they're conservative like Jesus Christ, Moses, and Noah. They followed the Creator's laws instead of man's laws. They didn't conform and condition to society, to an Orwellian society. Total hypocrisy, guys. If you want to tell a story of a modern day crucifixion, believe you me, when I tell people I'm a targeted individual, they go, "What's that?" Jesus Christ was a targeted individual. And exactly what they were doing to him, they were doing to me. Except now they have directed energy weapons and ultrasonic technology to drive you insane and to covertly harass you with sound like Hitler did. They have all kind of ways of making you conform and suffer. And everybody betrays you. I've lived that story, guys. I promise you, my story is a modern day crucifixion and all the targeted individuals out there. So this means that there's many Jesuses, allegorically, being tortured right now. And nobody's helping us. Nobody's helping us carry the cross. We're just being tortured. And people are just standing by. I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him. They don't even let us talk to, like when Jesus was hanging on the cross and he looked to the right and to the left, there was a guy that said, "Can I go to heaven with you?" Right? Remember that story? They don't even let us talk to the people that are being crucified along with us. I want you to really think about the story. I'm not bitching and griping. I'm telling you a modern day story of a person that tried to ascend his conscience to a higher level and men who don't want that conscience to ascend. And once you ascend your conscience to the neocortex, that's where they get neo in the Trinity. These people have means of covertly torturing you and crucifying you. Targeted individuals are God's chosen people. No question in my mind about that. And somehow these elites know exactly who we are. They know that we're going to buck the system. They know that we're conservative. Call it whatever you want. They figure it out. I don't know if they use X-band radar to measure our vibrational energies. I don't know if they use our DNA. But I know that they know who is going to oppose the power structure. They know it. And they target those people. This is not just an experiment like a lot of people think it is. This is a modern day crucifixion. And I have a story of being crucified. And Kimberly, my ex-wife, and all the people that are involved in this are the character Judas Iscariot. I promise you. "Oh, I love you, Fred." And they're just betraying me. They were even involved in poisoning me, putting shit in my food. Betrayal. Judith Iscariot. Kimberly Gottfredson, you are Judith Iscariot. Man or woman, it doesn't matter. My ex-wife, you're Judith Iscariot. You betrayed a good guy that loved you. And you allowed them and you helped them crucify me. You turned me in to the authorities. And I was innocent. And they know it. What was I guilty of? Being frustrated that this was being done to me? Trying to fight and say, "Hey, stop doing this to me"? What do you want me to just lay down and just let these people crucify me? No, I was fighting and arguing to stop them from crucifying me. I knew I was being crucified. I knew it. But you did it anyway. I hope the truth comes out before I die. I really do. And I hope these corporations, like Pontius Pilate Corporation, in my case, it's going to be Cox and NOLA.com, whatever. No Louisiana. That's their goal. No Louisiana. In my case, it wasn't Pontius Pilate crucifying me. It was Cox Enterprise and NOLA.com. People involved in Holocaust type mentality that plan on crucifying anybody that go against the power structure, the same way they did me. How dare you participate in these programs? How dare you do this to another human being? I am a son of God, the Creator. And everybody else is my brother and sister, and I love you all. Even those that betray me. But you failed the new test of the mental. You failed the test of the mental. And you allowed the governing of the mental, the government. You know who governs the mental? The governing of the mental? Well, banking systems do, power structures. Satan himself. Satan himself is the governing of the mental, the government. The governing of the mental. The manipulator. The trickster. The liar. The ravenous wolf in sheep's clothing. We're going to save you. Once again, I'm going to close this time for sure. I love you all. Thanks for sharing my story. And this is only a percentage of my story. Trust me, it's a very small percentage.